Well, good morning, everyone. It's me, Julieann Hartman. And it's not just me, it's Julieann and Racquel. And so we've got a very special teaching today that we're going to do. No, not just a teaching, but
right.
yeah, just to get together.
Right.
If I drank coffee, I would have coffee with you, but I don't. So we're just going to talk. But I have this beautiful girl with me today. And so I believe that we're going to talk about things that are going to help you, inspire you, encourage you. And so, yeah, so just stay with us and I think you're going to enjoy it. So Racquel, thanks for coming on with me today.
Yes, of course. Glad to be here.
So as some of you know that listen to Racquel, on Saturday, Saturday, she had said that she was going to be taking a break from Healing Journeys today. And so I wanted to have her on to talk about that a little bit because, it is what it is. Listen, she's given me, well, not just me, but she's given the Lord, she's given you her heart for the last 3 years. That's a lot. Racquel, if you would have known, okay, so 3 years at 52 weeks a year. Oh my gosh. What is, I can't even do the math.
I know, right?
So let me actually get my phone and do the math. So I always say, if I would have told you, so 52 times, wait, how do you do this?
3.
Yeah, times 3. Okay. You've done 156 teachings.
Yes.
And if I would have said to you, hey, Racquel, I have this idea. Would you do 156 teachings for me? What would you have said?
Right.
You're crazy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I was telling the group, because you guys, we have like a private little powwow amongst the Healing Journeys speakers on Friday mornings. And I was telling them, I'm like, it's funny, when we first started out, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to have something, you're just thinking like, how am I going to have something to say fresh every week? Like a real minister, and you're kind of like, it was a little panic. I think we all were a little bit like, man, how are we going to have something fresh each week? And now here, I was the one, right? I was the one who was going almost 2 hours at times. I'm like, okay, I need to get off. Someone may be coming up behind me, like, on Healing Journeys platform. I need to get off and let you guys go do your thing. So anyway, it was just so funny how, starting out, you even think you're almost like so small and incapable of like doing something that or saying something that could change someone's life.
Yeah.
And then you're getting these responses back of like how people are just totally being changed and it's just flowing out and you're just feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't even stop. So it's just like the growth from start to even at this point where it's just like, wow, I have changed and grown so much on this platform. It's been amazing.
What's interesting is that we only look at ourselves as ourselves, right? We look in the mirror, we see ourselves, we live with us every day and we're like, what do I have to offer?
Right.
But then you have somebody that has a helicopter view of you that looks at you and says, oh my God, you have so much to offer, but you live with you every day. So you think that everybody's heard everything you're going to say because you've heard what you're saying. But, we don't want to obviously live our lives through other people.
Right.
But there's nuggets in everyone's life that you can say, oh, you know what? I like that. Like, I like the way that person is disciplined. I'm going to try that. Right. Those kind of things. Because there's nothing that replaces the time with the Lord. Absolutely nothing. I'm doing a study right now about how often Jesus went and spent time alone with the Lord. Yeah. And so I have found right now 6 times where he got away. Yeah, I want to make sure I did that right. Yeah, there were 6 times when he got away. And he didn't go and look at somebody else and say, well, I really love the way Matthew's doing this. Maybe I should, he never did that. He went to the Father to find out, what his next move was, what he was supposed to do, how he was supposed to handle certain things. And so we tend to go to people for that. We have a lady in our Bible study that's amazing. She's got she came up one day and she said this, and she goes, when I first came here, I moved here, I was so lonely and so scared, like insecure. And she said, and she took a cup and she said, and I went to every person and said, could you fill this up?
Oh, wow.
I went to the next one. Could you fill this up? I need love. I need you to love me. I need you to fill this up. And that was like, Wow. That
Yeah.
was
Wow.
amazing. And,
Yeah.
but we look for everybody else besides the Lord to fill us up. And what
Yeah.
you do is you bring everybody to the Lord to be filled up with his love, with his grace, with his mercy and
Right.
everything. So,
Yeah. And even sometimes like when we would, in ministering, it's just like we tell people, make sure that you're not even with this platform, as amazing as this platform is, all the viewers and whatnot, this can't be our substitute. It can't be our substitute for getting filled with the source himself, the source of life himself. And we tell people, go look in the word. You have to study this out yourself, because we've had people say, but what about this person? And that person says this, and that person says that. And what you're saying, we're like, what does the word say? Like, you got it's let me just say a quick example. It's so funny. My mom's relatives, not my mom herself, but my mom's, her aunts and uncles are still alive, and they're very old. They're like almost 100 years old, and old religious, good old fashioned religious, people down in South Carolina. And anyway, they are a part of the Church of God. And the Church of God has a quarterly, what they call it. So they send out like the message that the whole Church of God is supposed to teach for like a given Sunday. Like it's like a Sunday school plan. It's like a lesson plan. And all the churches teach from the approved message. It's interesting. And so they call it a quarterly. And so bottom line, we went over to my aunt. We call her Aunt Baby. We went over to my Aunt Baby's house, and she was talking about having some challenges, and we were laying hands on her. And she was just like, well, she was telling me and my mom, she said, well, the quarterly says, and it so happened that when we were there, they had in the quarterly, they had an example of like little Johnny who had, fallen and broken his elbow or something. And the whole lesson was that it was healed, but it wasn't healed all the way.
mm.
And so as we're talking with my Aunt Baby about how we're going to lay hands on her and we believe in that she's going to be healed, whatever it was, she defers or refers to the quarterly about how little Johnny in the quarterly, and she literally said, but the quarterly says right here that little, that in this example, little Johnny was healed, but he wasn't healed all the way. And my mom almost lost it. Mom was like, the quarterly, you're referring to the quarterly. Look at the word, Aunt Baby. It was just like, we could not believe that literally, but it says right here. She had it marked up and everything. It's right here in the quarterly that the Church of God in Christ puts out to the parishioners that the kid didn't get healed. So as a result, what basis did we think that we could pray for her and she would be told? It was unbelievable. But anyway, that made me just think about the fact that
well, first of all, I love that Aunt Baby.
Aunt Baby. And she's like 96. It's amazing.
But Racquel, I don't know what this is with me. I mean, maybe it's just like dumb or something, stupidity. But I just thought because I got into being a Christian so late in life at 37, but I just thought everybody believed like me. I really cannot. I was like appalled and shocked when I started hearing things like that. And you're like, well, now I see why. Because when people would come, when I would pray for people, and let's say that I wouldn't see anybody get healed, I'd be like, what is wrong? Like, what's going on? But what I didn't know is that people have got some really weird belief systems in them. Mm-hmm. And some people just don't believe at all on divine healing. They don't believe in laying on of hands. They don't believe in any of that stuff. So guess what? It won't work for you. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just so interesting how I had to like grow up and mature and find out like, hey, Julieann, just because they say Jesus does not mean they know what they're even talking about.
Right. And that's why you can't base, your circumstances on what other people, because you still don't know. You can't look to another man. It's just the bottom line. You cannot look to another man. I remember even back when I was first having all the lupus stuff when I was just real young. and actually at Crenshaw Christian Center. And I don't know if you were there once when a ton of pastors started just dying. I don't know if you were there at that time. No, seriously, it was like one by one by one. So we're at a faith church in the faith dome, right? But there were just a lot of challenges. I knew there was something that was missing there because right around the time that Herman and I got married, and not right, I started having challenges right when we got married, but I found myself looking at different people that were passing away who I had a lot of respect for. And the thought that would come to my mind is that if they couldn't get healed, what makes you think you have any grounds to stand on? If people that have been studying this and walking in this longer than you've been alive, you know what I mean? And then here I come up on the scene and I'm believing, that I'm healed of lupus and I'm healed of this and that. And then they're not receiving it. My mind wanted to start focusing on them. And I felt like the Lord told me, keep your, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith, that I could not afford to look at a man. Because I was being bombarded with thoughts. I was being bombarded. People were coming up to me because I went up for prayer several times publicly. So naturally, you're kind of in the eye of people and they see that something's going on and they're, kind of wondering what's going on. But it was just I have to look to Jesus and Jesus alone. I can't look at other people. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know why, this has happened or that's happened. I don't know. And that has been my saving grace, looking unto Jesus. I can't look to another man. Can't.
I know. But we all did it. I mean, it's like when you're trying to look, because this is what we naturally do in the natural world, is that we look for an example. And and God, why would I ever look in here for an example? I don't know that it's there, right? I didn't even know that the example was there. It took me a long time to even understand anything about the Lord, because I was so my mind and my heart was so seared on the natural side of things, because I didn't know anything spiritual at all, at all. Not even like, no, like not at all. Not at all.
Now you were raised Catholic though, right?
No, we really weren't. No, my mom was Catholic, but we never talked about it ever. Okay. My mom would say that, God will punish you for lying and, that kind of thing. And if you do that again, God's going to send you to hell. That's all I knew about God, and that Jesus Christ was a cuss word. Like, I knew nothing about anything, and nothing, nothing. And so coming from nothing, that's why at Crenshaw, Butch and I dove in the deep end, because we're like, either we're going to get this now, or I'm going to live half in and half out. And I didn't do that. And so I knew that, and I needed someone like Dr. Price that was very, very disciplined and strict.
Very.
Yes. But I needed somebody at that time to do that to me, to tell me,
Yeah, he was a great exec, because it was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, he was extremely disciplined and strict. Yeah,
very disciplined. And so, probably, obviously, maybe to a fault at times, but still, for me, for that one day a week, I needed someone to say, stop doing that, right? Or start doing this. And so we needed to hear that. It was important. But, like you said, how do you, I'm really glad that you said that about looking unto men, because we do see a lot, where do you draw the line? Because you see a lot of men, you see people that do get healed. You see people, ministers that, wave their hand and people get healed. So you're like, oh, I want that. But it's like, well, what did they do to get there? So when you saw that kind of thing, how did you, how did you balance that?
Well, and I was still really young, because I was hit with this when I was still really, really young. And I felt like I had to, at that time, kind of come out from under my parents' relationship and come into my own. It's like, this is actually happening in my body. As much as my parents love me, I'm accountable now. You know what I'm saying? And I can't play youth group anymore. It's like, seriously, it was like, and also I think to be hit with things so young, it matures you a lot faster too. I'm an only child and I've always been a mature person. But it matures you where you start to realize that this hell and Satan thing is real, and he really is coming to try to steal and kill. And I've got to get in the word and see what this is for myself, because my parents can pray for me and everything, but it's like it kind of hit me that I'm like an adult, and Satan's coming for me. Like whether I, want to grow up or not, Satan's coming for me, and I'm going to have to look in the word. I remember specifically, one pastor, his wife came up to me and knew I was going through certain things, and she approached me with a type of eating program, which I do believe that food, what you naturally put in your body has an effect on your body. I do believe that. But I also know that fundamentally, even Paul said, bodily exercise profiteth little. It's not what goes into a man that defiles a man, but what comes out. What I'm saying is there's something deeper than that. But she approached me with that. And at first, just my respect for them, I kind of wanted to start doing it. And I felt like the Lord was I felt like that was going down a wrong path. Not that you're not supposed to eat right, but it was a very meticulous way of eating. And I felt again like the Lord was just slowly telling me, look unto Jesus, look unto Jesus. Now, at that point, I didn't really understand the grace of God. I was trying to do everything by faith, and I was trying to just war it out. It wasn't really until I came, we moved up the hill and started hearing about the grace of God through Andrew, that I started getting, I think, a more complete picture. I think I had a one-sided coin, kind of. It was faith, 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 but you need grace on the other side of that coin, for that coin to spend. And so I feel like I really started coming into it when I moved up to Colorado and started hearing about the already finished work of God. So the faith part of me believing and believing and believing, I started realizing that I can only believe what Jesus has already made available to me. I can't just start believing something that hasn't been, made available. And so that was where I really feel I started to mature. And I felt like the word was opened up to me in a way I was reading the Bible, but I feel like I was more striving to make something happen versus resting in what has happened. That's where I feel like the change for me came.
So let me ask you, was there a struggle between all faith and now you're hearing in Andrew's
totally
balance? What was your struggle with that? Like, what were those things that you would say to the Lord when you would cry out, like, I don't get that? Like, was it like that, or what was it like?
It was for me, and I don't know, I was one of those people that I didn't really have. I've kind of always had a very sensitive heart for the Lord. And maybe it was a true fear of God, that I didn't actually blurt out things that a lot of people say they've blurted out before, like, God, I never really did that. I think I actually had a real fear of God at one point. And so I never did that. But it was a struggle for me, and in hindsight is always 2020, and I can look back now and see, but it was a struggle of trying to, how do I know when it was almost like, how do I even know that I'm really in faith? After all of the confessing and all of the kind of working it up and all of the righteous indignation and it's like, how do I even know that this is even working? There was still a sense of doubt in me. I felt like, and now the way I describe it is, I was believing for something rather than having faith in someone. I was trying to believe God for healing and for these things. And I've since come to realize for myself that all I needed to do was have faith in God. Speaking to the mountain is so much easier when you first have faith in God. But if you first start to try to speak to the mountain without having faith in God, you're just wearing yourself out, and the mountain's looking at you like, what are you hollering at? And you're looking at it like, why aren't you moving? And you're frustrated. So it was it wasn't a why God and a questioning God. It was an internal struggle of, am I doing this right? Am I speaking enough? Am I doing this and I'm doing that? And all I knew was the faith side. And then, so like I said, it wasn't a thing of faith it's just my response to what God has already done. It was almost like my faith was the origination, like was the starting point. But no, my faith is the response part to his faithfulness. So anyway, it was just I had challenges internally, just questioning myself if I was doing enough. Am I doing enough? Am I saying this right? What scriptures maybe I need to I was one of those, what scriptures, maybe I need better scriptures. Maybe I need, so it was always a questioning thing inside of me. And I didn't have confidence before God at that time. I just didn't have confidence before God. Now I'm at a place where I realize, and I'm still realizing, he's still revealing this to me, but I just need to have faith in him and not faith, for something. I'm teaching now a lesson on Mary and how she just said, be it unto me according to your word. She didn't understand how the Holy Spirit was going to overshadow her, and that holy thing that will be born of you will be the Son of the Highest, and he shall be called this. And she didn't understand that with her understanding, but she didn't have to understand it. She just said, okay, so be it. And her yes, her confidence in the word, she just had confidence in the word. She didn't have to believe to have this supernatural baby. She was just believing his word. And the result was her having this supernatural baby. But so the result was supernatural. But in other words, if I strip all this faith stuff away, and if I just bring it down to having faith in God and his word, then everything else takes care of itself from me just having faith in him. And so that's the big thing for me that I've discovered at this point in my life, where I am now, that I don't have to have faith for all these things. I just need to have faith in God, and all of these things are a natural, easy, effortless byproduct of having faith in God. And God is still revealing this to me. There are still areas that I'm like, okay, Lord, thank you. It's you. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding,
Yeah.
But
Racquel, so what, like listen, we are all still learning. It's like just the other day through my daughter, Sophia, she was talking about John 15 yesterday. We have our office meeting, and someone has to do a devotion based on scripture. And so through my own daughter, there was something that I've been working out with the Lord for probably about, I don't know, maybe even a year, off and on, not real. It's like sometimes I don't think about it because I've got other things on my list I need to talk to him about.
Right.
But it's always that kind of that little thing that still keeps, popping up. And so, but she said something yesterday about the branch that had died, and the branch in her heart that died. And she didn't realize that it was dead.
Wow.
But she was, until God lifted it up to her and showed her, this is dead. You don't need this anymore.
Wow.
And man, that was like, wow. And what an amazing thing that your children can say things, it's like you poured into them, and then they pour back into you. And she was doing the devotion for everybody. But gosh, when she was talking about that branch, I was like, boy, that was like the thing that was like missing, that I knew the branch was dead, but I didn't think about giving it to him and saying, this one's dead, let's incinerate it. Right? I'm ready to
move on.
Yeah, I'm ready now to give that branch to you.
Amen.
Because it's the pruning and it's all that stuff. And so, that was awesome. And so, like, where do you think you are in your pruning and in your, branch killing part of your life?
Yeah, right. I think, and the sacred cow killing
Yes,
too.
the sacred cow.
Had a lot of those that had to be killed too. Well, for one, I feel like I'm losing religion, which is always a
Okay, so
plus.
what
But
is religion to you?
religion to me is I grew up. Well, you got to keep in mind too, and this is not to poke on my dad because he's since changed completely, but my dad came out of Catholicism and was actually studying to be a priest, and that was his like childhood desire. So this lets you know just kind of his mindset, right? But he always wanted a family. I think the idea of a family, and he knew it was almost like I think he kind of grieved the fact that he wouldn't be able to have a family. And his family was very close and tight knit. They were a very devout Catholic family and very religious. Didn't eat. Was it? Did they eat fish on Fridays or didn't they eat fish on? Anyway, they were just very strict. They didn't wear certain clothing. They didn't do certain things. Just very strict. So my dad, I think he liked all that. No one else in the family said, "Oh yeah, sign me up," but my dad just wanted to do that. So as he got older, he was still a very religious person. So even in coming into the knowledge of Christ through Dr. Price's ministry, actually, is where he got saved. Um, he came into the knowledge of Christ, but there was still a lot of religion. We could not miss a Sunday for anything at church. Anything we were asked to do, we automatically participated in because it was all God. Anything that came along was all God. So our family life really struggled a lot because we were in everything and we never just had time. I think my parents' marriage struggled as a result of religion. My dad saw things as very black and white. And I grew up with that. I grew up with a heart for the Lord, but I still grew up with this, I would say, this reverential fear of God, but like I said, a fear of God. Religion does bring fear too. Religion brings fear. It's duty. If you don't do, you are cursed. So I grew up thinking I could be cursed with a curse for everything. And so I was very tiptoey with the Lord. It was I've come, so what does that look like for me now? I used to think that there had to literally be a set prayer time to like, now I'm more of just communicate with God during the day person. There are times that I pray, but I'm losing the kind of like the shackles within my relationship with the Lord. I'm treating God more like he's actually just a person with me. Andrew Wommack said something so powerful once that just really left an impression with even how I'm in this place now. But he's like, I'm married to Jamie. He's like, and we're together all day long. He's like, if I only talk with Jamie for 15 minutes in the morning, anybody looking in on our relationship would say we have a really bad relationship. But we do that with the Lord, and we think that our relationship is good just because every morning, like clockwork, we have our, devotion. But he lives and abides on the inside of us. Treat him like he's actually with us all day long, doing the dishes. Just, Lord, what do you think about that? What do you think about this? What's going on here? I need answers, Lord. Break this down to me. Holy Spirit, just being more just free is one of the ways. And then also, like I said, not just understanding more the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law and not the letter of the law. There's just a lot of things that I am becoming more free with understanding the heart of God. And I don't know. I can't even really, it's just like having more liberty with my relationship with the Lord, I would say, is dropping off the religion. There are views I used to think. I used to think certain things about certain sins. I mean, honestly, I had a lot of religion. And now I'm just realizing that it's not about abstaining from sin. It's about awaking unto righteousness. It's just awaking, you know what I'm saying? It's not about trying to not do it and not, have this. And it's just a freedom. It's a release. I can't really put my finger on it, but it's a freedom, it's a release, it's a more of a communion with the Lord versus kind of a fear of him, like I'm serving him. I am just being a son in him. It's just being a son versus in service. A son will be of service to their parents. A true son, right, who's receiving love and who loves, you will be of service to your parents. So instead of trying to focus on the serving part and did I do all this right, I'm just, or like Herman said, we're just sonning. Or instead of serving, we're sonning.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So when you're saying that and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but you said different viewpoints on sin, like, can you talk about that at all?
Well, in particular, like I'm starting to realize, and the Lord lately has started to really give me a heart, honestly, for the homosexual community. I've just noticed it's like I don't just drive right by all this stuff that we're seeing going on nowadays, like trans and all this other stuff. I am like my heart is breaking for them. Because I recognize it's such a deception. Before it was get away from me. And the Lord has started to reveal that some things I had even had in my heart that I had held against others, was I needed the same blood that they need to cleanse them. That they don't need one more drop of Jesus's blood to wipe out that stain than what I thought I needed. So it was like a sense of pride, I would say, the sin of pride that the Lord had to start. And I had to just come clean with the Lord and just say, oh my gosh, like the way I had looked at that group of people was the way the Lord looked at me prior to Jesus. And the same Jesus, the exact same amount of blood, the exact same quality of blood is what I needed to root out the stuff in me, the pride in me that you know what I'm saying? It was that kind of a thing.
Pride is very dangerous.
Pride is dangerous. And I didn't even realize that was there. I have relatives that live that lifestyle. They're actually a brother and sister, believe it or not. It's crazy. And they've always, despised us because they thought we were all, high and mighty. And I guess you could say in a sense we were. We didn't act that way towards them. But in my heart, I just thought, oh my gosh, those people, like. And the Lord just, I don't know, the very same people that I have felt that way about, it's like I'm starting to just realize, oh my gosh, Lord, you died. You don't want anyone to perish, but that all would come to a knowledge. And even just me thinking about these people that try to live this lifestyle and they say, well, I'm a believer. If it's not, and I know a worship leader who started to live that lifestyle. And I was listening to him about how he was saying that he prayed this away. And I was thinking, man, that's the error. He was trying to pray this away. The Bible says, awaken to righteousness and sin not. Awaken righteousness is the victory over sin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't say try not to sin and then you will be righteous. You'll pop out righteous on the other side. No, you awaken to the fact that this is not who you are. And that's the victory over the sin. You know what I mean?
But when we don't know the word, we're looking to what we would normally, like in a natural way of how do we deal with this? Why just tell it go away, like go away. Right. But there's nothing supporting the go away. What does that mean? And there's other things too. I mean, pride is it's tricky. It's like it's stealth. It's like it gets in there. It's so just true. Awful. And when I started seeing a lot of things in my life, it was like, wait, that's pride. Like that's what pride is. I was like, oh my gosh, because we think pride is something else, and the world's definition of pride is something else, but God's definition of pride is way different. And we know that Yeah, there is a fall, a big, very high fall when we are in pride like that. And so, and sometimes we don't recover.
Right. No, that's so true. And even with regards to, Herman and I were just ministering on our broadcast right before joining you. And I was mentioning about how even with worship, it was pride. There were some things that did lead up to just why I was, but it was a sense of pride. It was a sense of me. It was about me in terms of, I was just kind of tracing back where this came from, this not wanting to use the gift that God had given me to sing. And it really started, honestly, it first started, and the devil tries to use different things along the way. It first started with the fact that when I was a child, I had horrible teeth. And everyone would always like look at me, and I was always tall. I was developed, when you're tall, girls develop faster than everybody else. You're taller than all the boys. So you stand out, you're going through all your awkward stuff. And my teeth were just horrible. So I stood out. So I got attention. People always thought I was older just by the way my body looked. Right. Mm-hmm. And then when it became known that I could sing, my parents naturally wanted to give me voice lessons and want me to do all these, amazing things. A big minister had come, Dick Mills, he's since passed away, but he had come and he was a prophet. And he said that I had a gift that was he literally said it was a worldwide gift. Well, wow. At the time, it had just become known that I could sing. So my parents were like, oh, it's singing. So they're doing all the, and my teeth are horrible. And it started to create this complex within me to a certain degree that it made me not want to open my mouth. I became quiet, even as my personality. I just kind of just became quiet. I would laugh. When I'd laugh, I'd cover my mouth. I just kind of went inward. And the devil started using that. That was the first thing. And then, of course, I get my teeth fixed, but I still don't want to sing now. And all the opportunity, favor, everything is coming through my voice, but I just still don't want to do it. And I just got to a point where I just put it off to the side. And then I'm reading the parable of the talents one day, and I'm realizing God is expecting multiplication with really the gift of Christ, but even our talents, And I just thought, Lord, I don't want to stand before you and you tell me that I didn't multiply what you placed in my, and I had to really just and that was a sin. I realized that was pride because it really was about me, because it was a self-centered thing of, I don't want to do it. Forget about you, forget about your glory, forget about anybody that this would bless or anything. And so the Lord, even now, I'm on this walk with him now, where I'm just like, it's not even about me. And honestly, like Sunday, my voice cracked twice and I didn't even care. I mean, I want to do everything with excellence, right? You want to do this. But yeah, it's almost like, it's a whole nother, because I've laid it down and I've said, Lord, you are not going to find me, self-centered, saying I didn't do this and I didn't do that. This is about you. And it has freed me up where I actually am excited about worshiping the Lord. And I worship him now here. Another thing was, I'd worship the Lord, or I would sing, but I wouldn't worship the Lord in my own time. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
This whole God is taking me. That's huge. If you don't see, you're performing then when you're out there, when you don't actually worship the Lord, when you're behind closed doors, And I realized too that the reason why I was so focused on me is because I'm not really a worshiper. But in becoming a worshiper, it's an overflow of who I am versus a presentation that I'm making before others. So yeah, these are all like major things that the Lord is doing in me right now. And it's humbling, because it's just like, Lord, everything is just humbling. Like, it's literally now more just a not me, but you. Okay, you want me to do that? Sure. You want me to sing there? Okay, sure. You want me to do that? I had a friend ask me, now that you're taking over the worship leader position at the church, are they paying you? And I'm like, well, they haven't mentioned that they're paying me, but I'm not. What I'm saying is, this isn't, I'm not doing it for that. Like, I actually want to do it.
Right.
It's great.
Well, no, that's awesome. So it tells you where your heart is on that, but I will say that there's a very big cautious, or a caution sign with worship leaders, because they are on stage. People are wanting to worship like them. They become, gods, they become stars, they become, Christian celebrities.
Right.
And then, that's why I love like Stephanie Gretzinger. That girl, when she worships, she doesn't care what, like,
and how ugly she looks doing it. Right.
Yeah. And those are true. And there's other ones too. Those are true worshipers. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that, because I'm not going to sound like this old person going like, those kids should not be, having fog machines and lights and all that.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all, because all that stuff, when I went and, took our girls to go see like Jesus Culture and all that, it affected my life tremendously. Like I so much happened during worship. I'm not saying that, but because Kim Walker Smith is a worshiper.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
she is a worshiper. Correct.
So when you have that, then it brings the presence of the Lord in. But other than that, it's a concert.
Right.
It's a concert.
It totally is. And because from a young person, I looked at getting like in the music industry. See, when you're looking at being a performer, you're looking at an album and you're looking at cutting you're approaching it from a totally different perspective. And I remember about 5 years ago, I went back to my old music teacher, and he was just wanting to hear me obviously sing, but then just hear just what I wanted to do. And I remember him telling me, he's like, sounds like you just need to be a worship leader and forget. That's what my music teacher said. My voice coach, he was like, sound like you just need to, because that was when Maverick City had kind of just come out. And I'm like, man, I just love how and I'm just sharing this to him. And I'm like, I've never seen this. It's like you never knew music could be done this way, where people just gather around and just sing out, where it's not even this like, they got their beanies on, they're barefoot, they don't even look produced. You know what I mean? And they're just singing out. And he was like, yeah, sounds like Racquel, sound like your whole perspective is just off. And that was like one of the first seeds of like, yeah, sound like I'm like way off with my whole perspective.
Well, that is so true about talking about unproduced. I mean, Healing Journeys today, we're really unproduced. And I can't ever be produced. That's not the model. That's not what, I do other things that are produced. But this is not. This has got to be raw. This is, myself, you, and, the 9 others that are 8 others that are just coming to you live every day and telling you what the Lord has shared with them. And so that's why I've never, like, oh, you need super dupers on there to promote your channel. No, I have the super duper Jesus, the Holy Spirit, that promotes this channel. And so I've never felt like I had to ever go that route at all. So now, Racquel, you are taking a break. And so from Healing Journeys today, and I know you told everybody on Saturday. So what does life look like for you?
So life for me now, and really for us, I'd say for both Herman and I, are at a place now where we were extremely busy. And we're realizing that we want to be productive, and we want to be about what we feel that he wants us to be about. Because for one, even from a financial standpoint, many of you guys know we moved out here, we started a trucking business. That did not go well. It started tanking. The prices of gas they just went. It was just crazy right at the time that we basically started.
I didn't know about the prices of gas. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the prices of gas were way more. The diesel was way more than, and then even the maintenance. So we made an unwise, you guys, investment and business decision. And as a result of that, even just coming out of that and recovering from that has been, we've needed some time to kind of get things together. And honestly, we needed to clean our garage out. I am just being real. Like we needed, when you're going through life and things are just out of order.
Yeah.
It's just, and you're realizing, and we just needed even more time together. A lot of our time was like Herman doing this and I'm doing that. And like I said, our marriage is fine. We're totally fine, but we just still needed to just come back together. We just needed to get things in order. And at the same time, I like to say we were presenting, meaning we were always like on camera and always just busy and committed and doing different things. And then you're kind of looking around, okay, when you turn that off, now the reality of like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to get this. And Herman just said, you know what, why don't we just take a break? We were ministering, even on our own broadcast, we're ministering every day of the week. And then we first cut that back to Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock our time. We were doing every other week. We had since kind of started doing it more Zoom, but at one point we were flying out to Bel Air every other week, Bel Air, California. We would leave at like 6 a.m, fly out, land, grab something to eat. At the time I was working, I'd run to my job in West Hollywood, check on the office, do some different things in the office. Then we'd run to Bible study, do the Bible study, and you guys fly out the same night to come back home. We were just busy. We were just doing a lot. And then naturally healing journeys today, singing on the worship team at church, still singing with Andrew, just busy. Okay. And so Herman said, you know what? I think we need a break and just to back up and get the things in order that we need to get in order, and then come back with all of these things in order. He's like, I think we just need time. We're very busy. We've got a lot going on. We want to make sure that everything that we're doing, even from a job and, what income standpoint, that we're sound in that capacity, that we're sound just in our marriage with just spending more time together. We had gotten where we were kind of doing things separately. We come together when we need to, and just, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of an overall clean out our garage, which is totally clean. Oh my gosh, my husband did an amazing job. Because I didn't do any of it because it's Texas heat. So I'm just like, handle that. But the Lord just prompted him to just go ahead and just handle that. But just get things in order. So healing journeys isn't the only thing. Like I said, we have put our Bel Air Bible study on hold for a while now. We're gonna, I'm stepping away from healing journeys. Like I said, I believe it's temporarily. I really do. Mike Hoesch said something amazing. He said, look at where fruit is being produced. And that really stuck out at me. And I thought, you know what? There is some major fruit from healing journeys. I mean, even in just what the Lord has shared with me, just in sharing, the Lord has dropped nuggets in my heart as I'm saying something that I haven't even thought about.
Yeah.
And it ministers to me as I'm saying it. It ministers to me. Like I know it's ministering to other people and they'll tell you, oh, it blessed me. But then I'm like getting ministered as I'm saying. I'm just like, wow, Lord, I never even thought about that before. It's like, so this is absolutely producing fruit. Like I said, this is just still going to be a time for us, just temporarily, I believe, for me to just, for us to just get the things in order that we need to get in order. But like I said, all is well. We're fine in our marriage. Everything is fine. It's good. This is a good backing away season. So this is not we back away because we gotta, whatever. This is a good backing away season, and just allowing the Lord to minister to us and lead us and us to just get, like I said, it's good to get things in order. It's good.
It absolutely is. I mean, I'm the person I can't have clutter anywhere. If I do, I can't work right. I'll do it. I'm like, I don't like this because I feel like everything is unorganized. I am the garage. I mean, my husband and I we both are like, clean the garage. Any kind of closet that that you can just.
That's what I mean. Just like everything. Yeah. Because even like our house is clean, but then like open a cabinet Like, I'm just like, when we feel like the Lord, one thing that jumped out at me too really quick is that Terry Saville Foy, Jerry Saville's daughter, she's a big, motivational speaker, love her. But she said the first thing that the Lord told her when she was just like, Lord, my life is just average. I don't want to be average. And the first thing he told her was clean up your house. She wanted some huge revelation. And she said the first thing the Lord told her was clean up your house. And she said she didn't know that in taking the steps to get every closet cleaned, every nook and cranny cleaned, that was going to send her on a track to get her body together. And then she lost weight and started it's like you want to see everything line up once you start this order thing. And now the Lord has exalted her to, great platform. She speaks with Tony Robbins and all this all over the world, but it started with her getting her house clean and getting her house in order. So,
and it's true. I mean, unfortunately, I had a closet crash in on me. It wasn't that it was cluttered. I just had too many clothes. And so, in doing that process, I'm like, because I have it up in a room where it's it's just your seasonal clothes. I put up.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's up here in my office and I'm like, you know what? That needs to go and that needs to go and that needs to go. But what happens is there is a little bit of a trap where when you have your hands in so many things, when you're traveling so much, the travel is very, very, it's hard. It's time consuming. And even though Butch and I travel everywhere together, that does not mean that we are together. We climb together. So I get that. And I just discussed that with our Bible study last night, some of the ladies, that if Butch and I don't have a relationship, all of this goes away. It's over. It's over. Right. We minister together. We work together. We do everything together. If that intimacy leaves, or that time just spent as a couple and not as CEOs of a company, then we have nothing. Everything goes. So we have to protect what we have, because we are better together than we are apart, and we have to protect all of that. So, in the doing, in the painting, and the just, all the stuff that you do together, you find things and you laugh a little bit and you have you just enjoy life together. Then you tackle the things that you have together, but you're not on opposite teams. You're on the same team tackling the same issues. And so,
because when you're only coming together kind of like to talk business or to do your ministry together, or, you know what I'm saying? And then we're just mate, we gotta, just have more romance. We gotta have more intimacy. We have to just be together where we're not doing the other things. That's what it is.
Yeah. And just, falling into bed.
Right. Totally. Right.
The next morning, oh my God, I passed out. I'm so sorry, and it's like, so we listen, am I going to do that again? Of course we're going to do it again, but the Holy Spirit reels it back in again. Come on, come back. And that's why my walks, I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what it is for anybody out there that's listening right now, but those walks, he reels me back in with those walks and says, okay, Julieann, let's talk about this or that. And so, because there's nothing that's more important besides God than my husband.
Absolutely.
No ministry, nothing is more important than my relationship with the Lord and my relationship with my husband.
Absolutely. You're right. Everything comes from the Lord, and then your husband and or your spouse. And then when that, like you said, is not just, as put it this way, we're going to actually even get the most done and be the most productive and actually get the best result from our, our communion with one another. Yeah. So we're just like, we need time and we need to clear things out just to kind of regroup and bring it back to what really matters. Mm-hmm. And then do what we feel the Lord told us to do. Like I said, with just getting things in order. You know what I mean? And then come back and then go from there.
We don't realize. And I'm, like I said, I've always been the one to where I can't keep walking by a closet and see him. Like, I just can't. But
I can. And that's what the Lord's telling me. Stop it. Because I can do that really well.
But I really do have, like, I think one of the messiest closets is always going to, well, it could be your personal clothes, but your messiest closet is going to be like your towel, your linens, your towels, your sheets and all that. Who likes to fold the fitted sheet? I can't stand that, right?
Right.
You never, like, I know there's something on YouTube or Instagram, I'm sure.
Oh, I know. I've seen it too.
But anyway, but I would, put my towels in, I would just kind of shove them and then shut the door and act like that doesn't look like a mess. But when the Lord tells me, go back in there, and pull out each towel at a time,
right,
and then let's have some time together and put my folding towels together, like he doesn't fold it like it, and it's like, let me just show you how I would like you to fold it. He was like, oh, I never thought about it. I would just like fold it up, roll it up and throw it in. But those little things really do add up. And, we have been married 31 years. It's a long time. Almost as long as you've been alive, Racquel. But, it's like, how do you keep that alive? It's just like, how do you keep your relationship with the Lord alive? You spend time with him.
You spend time.
You don't minister about him.
Right.
You spend time with him. How do you keep it alive? I can sit here and talk about anything, but if I have no relationship with the Lord, then it's just, what is it, a clanging cymbal or whatever? Yeah. That's all it is. There's nothing underneath it. There's nothing supporting it. There's no foundation. And so anyway, I just thank you so much for coming on. And the reason why we do this is because we know that Christians sometimes can be gossipers and say dumb things and say, oh my God, Racquel left and, left Healing Journeys today. I wonder what happened. Well, you know what happened? Jesus happened. And she's given us 3 years of her time. And I know it's bore, I think that's more of the word, bore lots of fruit. And when she's ready, she'll come back because she'll know that that fruit is fruitful and it's something that she will enjoy doing. So there's no gossip here. So Racquel, I love you so much. And for some of you who don't know this, I've known Racquel, gosh.
It's a minute.
Yeah. Well, I came to Crenshaw in 2000. So how old were you in 2000?
Okay. So I was 20.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've known you for 20 years.
So you know me 23 years.
Yes. And you were just 20. Oh, my gosh. And you know what? She is such a beautiful, like physically too. Physically beautiful. She's got the most amazing voice, had an amazing voice at 20. I mean, just a beautiful woman. And I think, and we knew you before you were married as well. And I knew Herman from Taibo, which is really funny. And so weird. But anyway, so we continue to be friends. Yeah. And I just want I love you so much. And
I love you too, Jules. And like I said, and I just want everyone to know this woman Jules is one of the most amazing, energetic people you will ever meet. But her heart is gold. So even as you guys are listening to her and as she just gets on your case and as she lets all the jewels come out, just know that her heart for you is so big. This woman is working nonstop behind the scenes to try to find new ways of blessing you guys, of blessing the viewers, of being a blessing to the body of Christ. But she hates sickness and disease. And she's just looking to find ways to more creative ways to minister. Different people receive from different people. So there's constantly new people coming on. One person can say something one way and another person can say it another way. And so there's so much for you to choose from. And I'm just going to take this liberty to just tell you to give. I'm going to encourage everybody to give because they also go into their own pockets to do a lot of the things that we do. So I just want to let you guys know that, and I do this with I do it on my own Healing Journeys thing, but I'm just saying sometimes you can take for granted what is even going on behind the scenes of what's delivering life to you. You just see that life's coming to you, but you don't even realize what's happening. And I'm just telling you guys, just keep it in your hearts to give. When you are hearing something from somebody that ministers to you, you give. Andrew always says, you don't eat at Wendy's and go pay McDonald's. You give where you're fed. So I just want to encourage you guys that this woman's heart is so big. And don't just be a taker, to just purpose in your heart to be a giver. And trust me, that's going to go far, even in you seeing what you want to see manifested in your flesh when you are looking to be a giver and not just a taker. So anyway, just wanted to say that.
Well, Racquel, I really appreciate that. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. And everybody, she'll be back at some point.
Yeah, I will.
On stage.
I'll be back and I'll be better.
That's right. At Andrew's GTCs, she's always going to be, and also for Curry Blake's, is it Dominion Life Church?
Yes, so it's Dominion Life Church, and so I'll be leading worship at 10 a.m. Central, so that would be 8 a.m. Pacific. Right then, I wanted to burp and everything at the same time. 8 a.m. Pacific. And we do praise and worship at the end of our service versus at the beginning, because my pastor is like that. And he just says he wants to just shake things up. He doesn't like doing church as usual. So it's at the very end, even after he lays hands on people, is when we do worship.
I love that. I don't like doing church like usual either. That's why I'm far, for God's sake. Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you, everybody, we will see you next time. Butch and I will see you tomorrow night for HARTbeat. And tonight you have the amazing Colleen Iammarino. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.